everyone, welcome back to the channel. There's been so much going on with DC lately, and it's finally just positive things that I'm super excited about. And to kind of just complete the end of the old regime at WB, which is now WBD, Walter Hamada has exited officially from Warner Brothers. So this was kind of floating around recently. We knew he was going to be leaving sometime around or after the Black Adam release. That was kind of what was being said, which was not really hard to believe, right? And then I think it was when the Hollywood Reporter article came out a couple of days ago, saying all the stuff about, you know, the studio wanting to bring back Superman as soon as possible and having Henry Cavill making Man of Steel 2, looking for writers and a director. Already having the Flash script written for a second movie just in case they are pleased with how the first one performs. All of those things that we're talking about that the Hollywood Reporter article was talking about with DC also mentioned that this could potentially be Walter Hamada's final week. And it seems that Deadline is reporting that, you know, Hamada knew his days were numbered and that this would be the outcome even before he ever met Zaslav, who has been transparent in his desire to bring an exec like Marvel chief Kevin Feige to run DC across all mediums. So they are still looking for someone to be the head of DC. As it mentions there, they want someone to kind of be in that position to oversee everything DC. They are still looking for someone to fill that role. Of course, over these past few months, there have been different names that have popped up and, you know, they still haven't fulfilled that role. But in the meantime, you know, there are co-chairs, Michael DeLuca and Paul Abdy. However, they are co-chairs, but I believe I saw earlier today that DeLuca will be kind of a temporary, to kind of fill that role temporarily until they put someone in place for, you know, to oversee DC. And Walter Hamada does have a long history with Warner Brothers. He's been there for 15 years, but he was only 4 of those years was as the DC Films president. And, you know, when the merger happened, I think, you know, once we knew that Emmerich and Sarnoff, Jason, like once we knew all the other executives in place were not going to be sticking around, I mean, it wasn't a stretch of the imagination that Walter Hamada would also be leaving eventually. But like it mentioned, you know, his contract was supposed to take him through 2023. But of course, with the Batgirl films being scrapped and, you know, probably a lot of contention between he and the new leadership, Deadline says the writing has been on the wall for Hamada's DC exit for quite some time. And sources said he has packed up his office and hasn't been part of recent creative meetings. Again, not really surprising. I'm sure it's probably been like this tense, awkward vibe between him and the new leadership. Again, we just recently also found out in the Hollywood Reporter article that Dwayne Johnson went around him to get the okay to use Superman, Henry Cavill, Superman, in Black Adam. He went over his head. I mean, he's been dealing with this for so many years, trying to get a thumbs up, a green light to use Henry Cavill, Superman, in Black Adam. As Dwayne Johnson said, it was always a no. Hamada, and then we found out just now that it was Hamada actively saying no to that request from Dwayne Johnson, Danny Garcia. So, I mean, why you would ever say no to that, I don't understand. But again, he's probably just continuing to do the bidding of the old regime, the other executives that were in place, you know, even though they're not there anymore. Toby Emmerich did stay at Warner Brothers in a different capacity. They agreed to let him have his own production company, so he's not going to be a part of DC anymore. But Walter Hamada is not even at Warner Brothers at all anymore. So this is a big deal. Hamada will be the 5th Warner Brothers motion picture studio executive to leave since David Zaslav took the reins of the newly merged Warner Brothers Discovery. Under his time, or under, you know, his belt as DC president, I would say that The Joker is the most successful movie that was made and released during his time there. But this was, I mean, This was a fight for Todd Phillips, right? They didn't get it. They didn't want to let him do it. They didn't understand where he was going with it. The Batman was a good movie, but, you know, it probably didn't make what they wanted it to as far as box office. Batman usually prints money and is their money maker. And I mean, now studios have this $1 billion goal or benchmark that they think that's the only way a movie is successful now. But, we had most of their movies were not successful under Walter Hamada. Birds of Prey, Wonder Woman 84, The Suicide Squad, James Gunn's version. Not a whole lot not a whole lot of praiseworthy stuff, like I said, besides The Batman, which was a good movie, but not the best, in my opinion, that we've seen as far as Batman movies. It was good, though. It was a good movie. And The Joker, which I think was probably the most successful. However, he was offered a producing deal that he turned down. He was ready to bolt after WBD killed Batgirl in post-production as part of a pivot from the last regime's plan to make moderately budgeted films for HBO Max. But then they were going to put it in theaters. So these stories started coming out after Batgirl got canceled that Walter Hamada was very angry and he was ready to leave at that time. So, after that, he was probably like, I don't even want to take a producing deal and stay, just not be DC Films president, but not even a producing deal. So he just left altogether. I'm sure it caused a lot of problems between them, but this should be for people that are worried or doubtful about the direction that DC is going from here on out. The fact that he's the 5th executive to leave since this merger happened, and the fact that they, were not happy with Batgirl, and they have decided to make changes to Black Adam, allowing Henry Cavill Superman to come back in that movie. We'll see if he's also, I wouldn't be surprised if he shows up in Shazam, in The Flash, like the rumors are saying, especially for the Flash movies and Supergirl's in it, because the articles that are coming out now that we know Henry Cavill's back, are saying that David Zaslav wants to get Superman on screen as soon as possible. They want to continue with this. Is a good thing. This is when the merger was announced and we knew it was going to happen, what were we all saying? Bring them back. Henry's back. Ben Affleck is back. They are keeping him around, and even though Michael Keaton Batman is still going to be, there's going to coexist. They're not getting rid of Ben. They're not getting rid of his Batman. We are bringing Henry Cavill back. They want to use Superman. And for people that are saying, but what if it's like Justice League Superman? Obviously, they would not have gotten rid of all these executives if that's what they wanted to do. And with that, Henry Cavill is not going to wait 6 years to come back and do what he could have done right after they released Justice League in 2017. That would be totally pointless. It would not have been a fight to bring Henry Cavill Superman back. They were obviously trying to stray as far away from that as they could have, as far away as possible from that. Henry Cavill, Danny Garcia, they would not be fighting for 6 years to bring Henry Cavill Superman back if he was just gonna come back and do Justice League Superman 2.0. He would have done that a long time ago because the studio would not have had a problem with that. Obviously, the new regime does not want to continue down that line. They don't want to continue doing that. Otherwise, they would not have been shooting down Dwayne Johnson, Danny Garcia. They would not have been shooting them. They would not have been no to Henry Cavill. Because they know that Henry Cavill did not want to do that kind of Superman. People need to realize that think that this is going to be, what if it's just a version? No. They want to use these people who have been cast in these roles. Ben Affleck as Batman. Henry Cavill as Superman. We know we're good with the other Justice League members. And now that Walter Hamada is gone actually, this opens the door for the potential for Ray Fisher to return as Cyborg. And I hope that happens. I don't think he would turn it down. He said he doesn't want to be a part of anything that Walter Hamada is involved in. So now that he's gone, if he and the new regime can get on the same page, I mean, if they were able to bring back Henry Cavill, I don't see why they wouldn't be able, and Ben Affleck, I don't see why they wouldn't be able to do the same thing with Ray Fisher now that Walter Hamada is gone and is no longer going to be a part of any of the DC movies. Granted, The Flash was still filmed under his time there, but he's not going to be there moving forward. So this is definitely a win for the fans and for people who have wanted Henry Cavill to come back, for people who did not want Ben Affleck's Batman to have some kind of exit in The Flash. And, you know, we know that there's Wonder Woman 3. The script has been finished for that movie. I mean, I don't think they would do another Wonder Woman 84 because a lot of people are like, I don't want another Wonder Woman 84. Well, that was under the old regime. People need to realize all those people are gone. Just like Dwayne Johnson has been saying, that leadership is not there anymore. The new era of the DC universe that he keeps talking about, that's not just on screen. More importantly, it's, the people in charge that's going to allow this new era of DC to appear on screen. If they wanted to do what the old regime was doing and try to copy Marvel, they would have just left all these people in place. And they wouldn't have canceled Batgirl. And they would have also said no to Henry Cavill returning as Superman. They're not doing that. They did all the opposite things. So this is a win. This is definitely a win. Things are heading in the right direction. And, it just really opens the door for a lot of things to, kind of at least be repaired or rectified. People, I think, just have a lot of skepticism because of what we've been used to, what we've had to kind of get used to over the past several years with the old regime, but they're not there anymore. And the new regime is making different decisions. They did immediately, as soon as they got into place. They pushed these movies back, and like David Zaslav said, they saw them and they thought they could make them better. Case in point, Black Adam with Henry Cavill's Superman, and hopefully, I won't be surprised if they put him in Shazam and The Flash, because they keep going back to, he wants to use him, he wants to have him on screen as soon as possible, which is what we all want. And if Henry is back, that means he's getting the kind of Superman he wants to do, which is not Justice League Superman. He said many times before, and even promoting The Witcher, he wants to continue with the Superman that they established in Man of Steel and a hopeful Superman. Unfortunately, the old regime took hopeful and turned it into corny and cheesy and lame and embarrassing. Well, no. If you have seen, this is going to be, yes, a hopeful Superman, but confident, still confident. And not Justice League Superman. That was the arc and the story that Zack and Henry always planned on having for Superman. And now Henry gets to come back and have that. We should all be happy. We should all be rooting for this. I definitely am. And I'm super excited. I'm going to be seeing Black Adam tomorrow and Friday. So Thursday and Friday. I'm going to share my thoughts. Definitely. I'm already just excited. I know the reviews and all of that. I don't care about that kind of stuff. Rotten Tomatoes does not matter whatsoever. So, obviously there's still people there who want to hate, who are always going to want to hate on DC no matter what they do. And I don't really care about that. People like what they like, people like what they don't like, but there's people who intentionally hate on things just because it's this or that. I don't pay attention to that stuff. Who cares? And the new regime hopefully recognizes that as well. What matters is the audience. Real quickly, before I forget, there is a new merchandise available on Ink to the People. This is where, Zack has, there's a lot of, we got some Snyder Cut merch from there, Snyder Cut merch from there for AFSP. And now there's a new design. So Zack shared, celebrating the amazing work this community has done to raise money and bring attention to suicide prevention and mental health awareness. The entire world became a Justice League. So that's the name of this product here. We know we have the, associate producer shirts and all of those cool things that we got to see, the dark side ones and all of that. So there's a look at that, the new one that is available on Ink to the People. Again, the proceeds go to AFSP. And so it is kind of reminiscent of one of the first ones, when it was kind of mapping out in this very cryptic way what we would have seen in Zack Snyder's Justice League before we got the movie, and people were putting all these pieces together. And now there's one that's what would have come after Zack Snyder's Justice League, right? The whole world becomes a Justice League. So pretty awesome. Zack is always, I mean, the details and the, you know, like subliminal messages that are in these things that he puts thought into these is always like interesting. People start putting all these things together, right? Comes in a shirt and a sweater, awning to the people. So yeah, just wanted to throw that out there and share that. Thanks for watching. Check out the links in the description, any videos you might have missed recently, including the shorts. I appreciate all the support so much on the channel, and see you guys very soon. Keep the hype going. Keep the hype going.